package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail those shoot 'em ups, and that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here with the Spectravideo shirt on and another video on the quirky or different games that made the Spectravideo computers, the 318 and 328, so original and special for the time. These three are all slightly later release games. I don't have a physical copy of one of them, unfortunately, but we can still talk about it and play some games about it, and I'll put up a screenshot of the cover. Now the first one I actually covered recently. This is one of the later games that was reasonably popular, and they converted over to the MSX. So I do have an MSX copy of this one. I actually only found that reasonably recently, and I actually only found this physical copy of the Spectravideo version recently. It's none other than SASA. And by the way, the inside covers are fairly generic. Now SASA is quite a unique game. It has a couple of different phases, but the main phases and stages, but the main concept is in your little spacesuit, you go in the opposite direction that you shoot. So the way you fly around the screen is to shoot down and shoot left and shoot right. And also in a later stage you're underwater, so then the physics are reversed, so you float up and you need to shoot to go down. So it obviously has very floaty controls, and usually you have a goal of shooting through a barrier or shooting a certain number of items or collecting something before you can move on to the next stage. You also need to shoot some of the enemies or land on the platform, depending on the stage, to recharge your gun, because you only have so much energy. But you've only got a certain number of recharges as well, so you can't just go and do the recharges all the time, or you'll chew through your available, almost like your ammo supply for the rest of the game. And it really takes a bit of concentration and play to be able to master this game. But it's a lot of fun. I can see why they decided to bring this forward into the MSX version. Yeah, it's a really great, enjoyable game and highly recommended, and really shows the system off well. Right, so next title, another one of the later release ones. I remember being very excited that there was a new game coming out for the Spectravideo. I do have a physical copy of this one. It is Tetra Horror. This one is extremely strange. It has some, once again, the guys at this software company obviously really liked isometric 3D. So the first stage starts off in a little bit Qbert-like environment where you have to jump diagonally between platforms and spell out the word fuel. Once you spell it in the right order, if you get it out of order, you've got to start again. Once you've spelt the word fuel, you can grab a fuel canister. And you've got to do that a certain number of times to get enough fuel to go into the next stage. Now the next stage is where they really go all in on the 3D isometric view. So you have a set maze. They don't change it, but they change where different things appear. And you need to go around and using the fuel that you collected earlier, you have a flamethrower, and you need to avoid the enemies. You can also shoot them with a flamethrower as well, but you need to go and use the flamethrower on the skulls to finally get the skull right at the top. And the main challenge with this game is getting lined up with the fuel. Now, if you happen to fall off the edge of the maze, you don't die immediately. It's almost like it's a third section of the game where you're falling down and you need to avoid the things that you're flying past and land on a cloud. If you manage to land on a cloud, you'll come back up and preserve that life. It's actually really interesting, quirky gameplay mechanics. Now this one wasn't converted over to the MSX later, more the pity, but I remember that is the last title that was released that we got down here, but it was probably released at the same time as the others, and it was probably just supply problems. But SASA, this one, and the next one we're going to talk about, all seem to be released around the same time. Alright, and next one, and I sadly say I do not have a physical copy of this one, although I would love one. If anybody out there has one that they would like to trade or sell to me, I will happily purchase or trade that for my collection. I do have some doubles, although I'll probably have the same doubles everybody else has. Right, so our next title is called Turboat. Now, this is another one going for, I suppose, an Zaxxon aspect type game, but it's not Zaxxon. It is a game called Turboat. Once again, 2 buttons, very much needed, as you have your thrust and shooting. It's very difficult because you need to progress along the river, but also not drift in the way of the very aggressive enemies. And it has a couple of stages. My gameplay here probably really doesn't do justice because I am quite out of practice playing it. I can actually get further on the MSX version. I don't know whether they've adjusted the difficulty a little bit, or whether because you can play it with a proper controller with 2 buttons, it makes a difference. It is difficult playing 2-button games with keyboard, especially on a system with a rubber mat keyboard, and the rubber mat's a little old, as my system is. But this is a really cool game. I used to absolutely love the sound in this one, and it really does have this, you know, I think they came up with this turbo sound and then built a game around it, almost. But it's another really quirky, interesting game for the Spectravideo, but it did get an MSX release, so that's probably the easiest way for you guys to experience it now and play the ROM on an MSX machine. I do have a copy of this on MSX as well. Alright, I hope you've enjoyed another look at the quirky and original games that came out for the original Spectravideo machines. I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.